everyone, and welcome to a very special edition of Political Forum. My name is Mike Jacobson, where you get to really meet and talk with local elected officials. And joining us today, well, if you don't know this man, you must be living under a rock. This is Jesse White, the Illinois Secretary of State. Secretary, wonderful to have you on today.
Glad to be on board, Mike.
All right, folks, so now we're going to talk about a lot of stuff here. We're going to talk about the Real ID. We're going to talk about the Jesse White Tumblers. And also, as we're getting into the holiday season, the Secretary has many things that he wants to make sure that everyone knows to make sure that they have a safe holiday season. Okay, so, Secretary, for people who, all right, maybe some people don't know, much about you. So how would you explain yourself to someone who you've never met before?
Well, I was born in Alton, Illinois, and at age 7 came to Chicago, and attended Walnut High School, which is now Lincoln Park. Graduated from Alabama State University in Montgomery, Alabama. Dr. King was my minister, and I played a lot of basketball and baseball there. I was there on a scholarship, and I drafted into the Army. I spent 10 years serving our country. Did 35 jumps out of a perfect good airplane. 130s, 123s, 119s. Then, after I finished my tour of duty, I came back to Chicago, went out to Wrigley Field and took part in a trial for the Chicago Cubs. And as it turned out, there were 250 ball players, and they selected 5, and I was one of the 5. And 4 days before going to spring training, I was drafted into the Army. So while I was there, I decided I wanted to learn how to jump out of airplanes. So they transferred me to Fort Campbell, Kentucky, went through jump school, earned my wings, and after I had completed my tour of duty, I came back to Chicago, picked up my ball, bat, and glove, put my uniform in the closet, flew out to Mesa, Arizona to be with the Chicago Cub organization. And then during the off-season, I taught school in the day, worked for the Park District at night, was asked to put a gym show, and that was the beginning of the Jesse White Tumbling team. And then later on, I was asked by a fellow by the name of George Dunn to consider running for state representative because Robert Thompson, who was our state representative at the time, decided that he was going to retire. And so I used to ski a lot. Matter of fact, I've been skiing for about 25 years. And there's one hill in Schiss Mountain in Munson, Michigan. I was not able to negotiate it. So after he had asked me to consider running for state representative, I went skiing, and I went down this hill 12 times without falling. And I said, well, if I can handle this hill, I can certainly handle the political arena. Well, I came back to Chicago, called President Dunn, who's the longest serving president of the Cook County Board in the history of the state, of the county of Cook, and told him I would like to run for this position. And so he said, great, you do well. I said, well, what's the makeup of the district? He says, it was about 83% white, 12% black, 5% others. I said, it's like 2 strikes against me, the curveball coming up. And then I said, well, what is the area that it covers? He said, Lincoln Park to Paul River, North Streeterville, the Gold Coast area, the Magnificent Mile, Old Town, Rest Triangle, the list goes on and on. I said, well, that's like going from the Gold Coast to the Soul Coast. He says, you'll be fine. So I served 16 years as a lawmaker, 6 as the Cook County Recorder of Deeds, 21 as Secretary of State, 8 years of professional baseball at a Cub organization, 10 years in the military, 33 years as a teacher, and 59 years as coach and founder of the Jesse White Tumbling team, and yet about 150 years of age.
All right, so I got to ask, because I'm a huge baseball fan, are you a glove man? Are you if you're bat, are you a 5-tool, 3-tool? How would you explain yourself?
I left with a 292 average.
Batting average? All right, that's not too shabby.
And I played center field.
All right, so you got some speed.
But in my earlier days, I played a lot of basketball at Alabama State. I hold a school scoring record down there. I averaged 30 points a game. And then same thing at Lincoln Park, somewhere in that vicinity. So, wow. And then I've had the great pleasure of serving the people of the state of Illinois in a manner which they can appreciate.
So let's talk about that because the longest serving Secretary of State in the state, and now and you're in your last term. So as you said, like after this term, there's going to be you're going to retire, you're going to hang it up. I don't know if I believe that, but we'll say that that's what you're going to do.
This time, take it to the bank. You see, the last time, Mike, I responded to a draft by the unions. I've been in office for over 41 years, serving the people. So I think my time is up.
Well, but let's talk about something. Talk about the office. There's some things that a lot of people want to know more about, and that's the real ID. So we were comparing beforehand. Like I did not get the real ID, but you have the real ID. I probably need to get the real ID. But what is the real ID, and why do people need it?
Well, because you remember what happened 9/11.
Mm-hmm.
Shortly after 9/11, they decided to recertify every person who's going to fly on an airplane domestically. And so they established some ground rules. And for example, you have to come to the Secretary of State's office and you bring your birth certificate or your Social Security card and then 2 additional pieces of identification like a telephone bill, gas bill, light bill.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you don't want to have that go through the headache, if that is the case, use your passport. Now, you have until October 1, 2020 in order to pick up this document.
Mm-hmm.
And so, in the past, we would come to the Secretary of State office. You would no longer have to bring your duffel bag, sleeping bag, or your lunch pail. We used to get you in and out in a timely manner. But because of this additional photocopying your documents and then giving them back to you, it takes about 50 more minutes.
Mm. So there's been some reports out, and I don't know if it's when people are going, but there's been long lines, and so that's one of the reasons we wanted to get you in there, is like, what advice did you have for people? Are there long lines, or what do you say?
The wait is a little longer. Before, you used to get in and out in a timely manner.
Yeah.
But now there's a little bit of a wait because we have to take these documents, photocopy them, and then give them back to you.
Right. And I'm going to show people your website here because people can learn more about exactly where they can find, what things they need to bring to get the real ID. As you scroll down, there it is right here, and know your options before choosing your next driver's license. This is where you can learn more about the real ID and exactly what you need to bring when you go into office. So that is at cyberdriveillinois.com, cyberdriveillinois.com. Okay, so that's one thing that's going on. Also, like as we're getting to the holiday season, first of all, actually, it starts off a lot of people, and what you're worried about is a lot of people are going to be out going to parties. A lot of people might be driving after the parties, and so let's talk about that.
Well, first of all, there'll be Secretary of State policemen out in the malls because we have been friendly toward and doing our job toward helping disabled people find a parking space. And if by chance they go to the mall and someone who is not authorized to park in that particular space has occupied it, then of course they may have to go to the far end of the mall and to find a space and then walk or get back to the store. And then when they come out, there may be a car that's too close to them, which means they cannot get their wheelchair or their crutches into the vehicle. So that's a violation of all laws of human decency when you do things like that. So it's about a $350 fine that we catch you parked in the wrong spot.
That's one thing. So what kind of advice do you give for people? Because I know a lot of us are going to be out and about, and we happen to see a person who we're like, wait a minute, that person doesn't have a tag on their license plate that says they can use the handicap parking. They don't have the tag that they put up onto their dashboard or on their rearview mirror. So what kind of advice do you give to people to do?
I asked them to call www.cyberdriveillinois.com.
Yeah.
Let us know where that particular infraction took place, and we will dispatch the Secretary of State Police or the local police out to give these individuals a ticket.
And again, this is something that's going to be happening a lot during the holiday season, so beware, and there's many things you can do. Okay,
But
yes.
I also want you to know, too, that the placard that we give you is to be used only when you're parking the car. You just cannot just put it up over your rearview mirror and continue to drive.
Excellent.
So you have to take it down, otherwise you get a ticket.
Good point. Because a lot of people might not think that they don't have to do that. So because it's a way to impair vision than when people are driving.
And then you get a $1,200 fine if by chance you get caught using someone else's placard.
Yeah, right.
And
So
that's a violation of all laws of human decency to do that.
right. So just beware. and have decency and knowing that, hey, first of all, take your time, and if you're looking for a spot, you're gonna find the spot. But one thing you shouldn't be able to do is you shouldn't be able to take a spot that is designated for people with disabilities, right?
That's right.
All right, so also now during the holiday season, as I was alluding to before, is that there's a lot of parties, a lot of holiday parties. A lot of people like to go out and meet friends. And what you're saying also is that, well, at the same time, don't take it too far. Don't do too much.
Well, they're going to partake in the use of liquid gastronomical appeasement, food, drink. But I would say that you should call a cab, get on a bus, get on a train, get on some vehicle that will allow you to get from point A to point B without you being behind the wheel of the car after you have consumed a large amount of alcohol.
Yeah, because especially this time of year, a lot of people like to go out, and just so really just use care, and in terms of knowing, that, hey, even plan beforehand, even before you go out. It's like, hey, I'm going out, I'm just gonna right now, I'm gonna set up my my rideshare program on my phone or whatever to call a cab and saying, hey, pick me up at this said time.
That's good thinking,
Mm-hmm.
and you're gonna save your life and probably save the lives of others.
Absolutely. So, all right. So another thing that's going on as we get to the holiday season, is that there's a couple of celebrations that are happening in the month of December.
Yes, when I was playing baseball in the club organization, during the off season, I taught school during the day, worked for the Park District at night, I supported a gym show here on the west side of the city of Chicago at the Rockwell Garden Housing Project. And the show was so enjoyable that the parents asked me, are you going to continue with these young people? I said, well, no, I'm not. My park supervisor asked me to put on a show. I have to admit it was a good one, and that's it. And so I was inundated with these people from the neighborhood asking me to continue on with the program. But I said, okay, I'll go one more year. I'll go one more year. 59 years. I believe that when you come through this world, you become successful, you get back. But I also believe that every day you must do something good for someone. That's how I run my life. With these young people, we're going to celebrate on December the 12th.
The Jesse White Tumblers.
At the Operating Engineers Facility. Beautiful place to have a celebration. 60 years of helping young people to grow to Australia. We are probably the largest and one of the longest serving organizations around. We've been to Zagreb, Croatia, Belize, Israel, China, Tokyo, Japan, Hong Kong, Honolulu, Waiota, Kauai. The list goes on and on. Plus, we do halftime for the NBA, the NFL, you name it. We've been there. And my mission is to try to help kids to grow tall and straight, stay away from gangs, drugs, and those negative aspects of life. And when you do that, then society is a better place for all of us. And one of the top things that's on my list is you cannot dislike anyone because of race, creed, or color. And then you also have to be leafless, smokeless, and pipeless. You cannot practice pharmacy without a license, which means you cannot get involved with that kind of activity. And you become a part and remain a part of the Jesse White Tumblers team.
So it'll be 60 years, and so people, if you haven't seen their show, it's quite an event, unbelievable. Again, so talk about the training, and how kids can get involved, because it's a phenomenal type of program.
Well, see, I started out as a kid at Seward Park in Chicago on the north side. Learned from a fellow by the name of Vince Schoenfelder. And then when I went to college, I went on a basketball scholarship. Then I played baseball. And then they found out that I had some gymnastic skills, so they asked me to, as a part of my scholarship, to teach gymnastics. And so I would tell the coach what grade he should give this particular individual. So that went on and on. So when I started playing baseball, and during the off-season I taught school during the day, worked for the Park District. I was asked to put on the show, and from this one gym show came the Jesse White Tumblers team. And so we're proud of the fact that we've had over 18,000 young people to come to the program.
Wow.
We have 10 vans and 250 young people. We have 500 young people in training, and we've traveled all over the world. And my mission is to help young people grow tall and straight, and we've been quite successful.
Unbelievable. So does a person, like, for a young person to get involved, do they need to know how to tumble?
Yes, they need to know the basics.
Okay.
And then we have tryouts twice a year. Our last tryout was a few weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had some tryouts back in September.
Mm-hmm. Son of a gun. And so how could people learn more about them? Is there also a website for the Jesse White
Well,
Tumblers?
they could call the office.
Yeah.
It's just Jesse White Tumbler team.
Mm-hmm.
And that's at my center, which is at 412 West Chicago Avenue.
Mm-hmm.
It's a beautiful facility. So wonderful that sometimes when the teams come in to play the Bulls, they practice there.
Oh, wow, about that.
But it's also the training site for the Jesse White Tumbler team. Then we use Thule Park on South Side, 9th and King Drive on Mondays and Wednesdays, and we use this Jesse White Community Center for training on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Well, congratulations on that. Holy cow, 60 years. That's unbelievable.
Well, as I said before, when you come through this world, you become successful, you get back, but every day you must do something good for someone. That's how I run my life.
But that's not the only thing you're doing. Also, another thing what you're doing, this is another annual thing, is giving back of hams and turkeys to thousands and thousands of families. What's going on this year?
Yep, this is our 55th year. We usually have pretty close to 17,000 hams and turkeys that we give out to the people on the near north and near west sides of the city of Chicago. You get it, you give it back. And as I said before, you must do something good for someone.
Right.
And if I don't do that, I'm going to have a bad day.
So that's going on December 20th, of this year. So that's another thing that you can look out for. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of information about that too, right?
Sure, yeah. We have a lot of people who help us with the distribution of those hams and turkeys.
So now I'm going to get to some other news. As we go into the new year in January, that's when there'll be the legalization of marijuana in the state. Being that you're Secretary of State, that you're in charge of in terms of giving people license and things like that to that nature, and people driving around. Is this a concern for you moving forward in terms of what people might be doing?
Tell me, how did you know to ask that question? Because that's what we've been thinking about or working toward. To make sure, like for example, if you happen to get a DUI,
Yeah.
we have many ways by which we can test to see if you have been overserved. But we have not been able to find out all that is required for us to find out how much marijuana that the individual who has been stopped has consumed.
Mm-hmm.
So we're working on that.
Interesting. So it's good.
We don't have a measuring stick.
Right, exactly. So it's something that's an ongoing thing, but something that needs to be then implemented, pretty soon then.
Sure. You're driving, all of a sudden you nod off, and then perish the thought of what's going to happen to the driving public.
Mm-hmm. So moving forward, like I imagine then, a law enforcement is going to be outfitted with some sort of devices, things of that nature.
We're working on a device by
Right.
which we can find out how have you been overserved, so to speak.
Mm-hmm. So that's going to be interesting. So you look out for that, because that's another thing. Like, no matter what, impaired driving is impaired driving, right?
You bet.
Right.
Bet. We just want people who are going to be driving on our roads to be a responsible person behind the wheel. We don't want them to have too much alcohol in their system. We don't want them to have too much marijuana in their system or whatever the substance is. We want to live, our driving public to live a long and a productive life. We want the individual to live a long and productive life, but that will not happen if they're out doing something that they have not been able to do because of being impaired.
So now, but besides that, now we're going on and say, let's talk nationally. Besides, so in the next year, a lot of things going on. Is we're going to have a national election too. Getting into the president. What's your take about what's going on? What do you see the future in the next year? A year from now, basically.
Well, I served as a lawmaker, Recorder of Deeds, and Secretary of State, so I've been out in the political arena for a long period of time. I'm not happy about our leadership in Washington, and I've never seen anything like this before. So there has to be a change. So I want the individual who's going to take on the job to be a responsible person.
Mm-hmm. So imagine, is there anyone out there right now that you feel it looks good as we're looking right now? There's so many people, there's so many candidates on the...
Got a lot of wonderful people out there.
Mm-hmm.
but you have to select one.
Right, exactly right. That's going to be interesting to see.
And the one that we select has to select one.
Right, exactly. Because one of the things, because there's a lot of things going on, because you have the impeachment process, which is going on.
That's going to be interesting.
You know, and so so that going into the election, you know, it's going to be quite interesting. What is your take so far, you know, on the impeachments? What's happening?
Well, if you have put your hand in a cookie jar and you say that I have not done anything wrong, especially if the cookie jar does not belong to you, yeah, that's the price you have to pay.
Okay.
I'm not happy with our leadership,
Yeah.
especially with the president.
Right, and then in the state, like the state, we have new leadership. You know, obviously with our new governor, and also with our new mayor.
The new governor is going to go down in history of being the best governor we've ever had. I've campaigned with him, campaigned for him, and knowing him for 35 years.
Mm-hmm.
I know where his heart is. He's wonderful. And now with regard to the new mayor, I don't know her quite well, but I think she's going to do fine.
Yeah, just passed the budget just recently, you know.
She's going to make us proud.
Yeah, and so then, but this all leads to what's going on. We've got to wrap up the show. We have about 4 minutes left. Is your retirement? You know, looking back, as you said, so this is going to be in about, you know, what, 3.5 years from now.
3.5 years.
You know, so what, like, how do you think, or what do you want people to remember you as, you know, in terms of not only, you know, Jesse White as the Secretary of State, but Jesse White as a person?
Well, I'm going to continue to work with the Tumblers and continue to do all that's required to help provide and distribute foodstuff at Christmas and help individuals who want to become better educated, better informed, to be able to have the funds that are necessary for that to occur. So I'm going to be involved with my community. I'm going to do all I can to help our young people to grow tall and straight, because they're going to help run this great country of ours one day. It's imperative that we do all we can to give them the tools that are necessary for that to occur. So I'm going to be out there, but I will have completed, I think it's 24 years as Secretary of State. And I'm really proud of the fact, too, that we've been able to provide the services in a timely manner and in a highly professional way to the people of the state of Illinois. And of course, we've stayed away from scandal because zero tolerance when it comes to that.
Right. And speaking of, you know, of the office of the Secretary of State, like you've navigated basically the internet age, you know, like, you know, coming into, you know, to what it is now to what it is, you know, 22 years ago. Huge difference in terms of, because people want services, they want things, as now you understand, here and now, you know, and navigating that, making it easy, kind of seamless. That's another thing that they got to be proud of.
Yes, we're proud of the fact that if you're a senior citizen, you will go to the head of the line. If you're a veteran, you will go to the head of the line. If you're pregnant, to the head of the line. And senior citizen, head of the line. So we want to make sure we take care of our seniors and people who are disabled, people who need to get in and out in a timely manner.
All right, well, that about wraps up. I want to let you guys know, first of all, that we have the 60th anniversary of the Jesse White Tumblers. That's going to be next month, December 12th. We also have on December 20th, we have the Secretary of State who's going to be giving away thousands and thousands of turkeys and hams to families in need for the holidays. So there's many different things to look forward to as the holiday season draws closer and closer, as we get closer to the end of the year too. So I want to thank you for being on today. Appreciate the time.
Well, in my neighborhood back, you'd say you're the man.
No, not me. It's you. It's you, not me at all. All right, folks. Well, thank you so much for tuning in and watching Political Forum. My name is Mike Jacobson. Joining us today was Jesse White, the Illinois Secretary of State. Remember that Political Forum is on every Wednesday at 7 p.m., so make sure to tune in and learn more about local elected officials within the state of Illinois and the city of Chicago. All right, folks. Everyone have a great day. We'll see you later.